Hey guys, it is currently 5:26 in the morning on September 7th, and I would like to talk to you about the Serial Killers Anonymous rewrite edit. For this process, for this edit, I rewrite every single word of the book, changing sentence structure, dialogue, awkward character moments, so on and so forth, just by retyping it. Sometimes it's a natural process, just as you're typing you automatically type something better, and sometimes you have to give it some genuine thought and sit on the sentence for a while until you figure it out. But as I talked about in the last video, which was just on the timelining and plans and goals for this book, I did sit down and take notes on this book, on each scene, on the narrative, so on and so forth. And then after that I went through and jotted down what happens in every single Nicole scene, because she's the primary focus and she's the one that I'm going to be focusing on the most in the beginning of this process. And I jotted down all of her scenes in order so I could look at them, and then I made some little notes on things that definitely need to be added to make sure that her arc is full and completed by the end of the book. And that's stuff that I'm working through now. But with that said, as it stands, I have gotten through the first, what was it? The first chapter, I think, of the original. Yeah, I've gotten through the prologue and the first chapter of the original so far. I'm currently on chapter 2, which is just what's sitting here on my phone. I use my phone as my second screen, so the original draft is sitting here and the new draft is sitting on my tablet. So far, I have written 2,768 words on Serial Killers Anonymous, which is taking a while. But I will go through and tell you how many days I've actually worked on it. I wrote 536 words on August 31st, 536, wow, that's weird, on September 1st, 326 on September 3rd, and 850 on September 4th, and then I haven't counted the words that I've written today into the app yet. So far I have worked on it for 4 days. I don't get to it every day, unfortunately, but I'm going to keep trucking along and doing my best to get through as much of it as possible. So far I have added one completely new scene, I think. Yeah, I added a brand new scene from Wayne's point of view that was not there initially, and I've added some new things about Nicole's goals for her arc, and I've added some new character descriptions, some new descriptions overall, some better sentence structure things to be worked out here, and I moved a scene from the prologue to chapter 1 because it doesn't make sense for it to be in the prologue. I don't know why it was in the prologue, but the first scene that's in the prologue is indeed a prologue. That was a lot of prologues. But I will keep you guys as updated as I can on how progress goes here. It's going to be slow. I'm going to work on it a little bit this morning in between gaming, both because my fingers hurt and because I need to keep the PlayStation on so I can keep track of the videos that are uploading right now. But I'm hoping things go well today. I have another book that I need to work on today. I have 2 edits that I need to work on today, and both of those are not for me. And we'll see how things go. We'll see how progress goes, and we'll go from there. But otherwise, that is all that I have for this very moment. I will get back to you guys with an update as soon as I remember to give you one.
Alright, I apologize in advance for the heater that you can most likely hear, but it is cold as hell outside, it is cold as hell in the house, and I can't tolerate the cold right now. It is currently 11:02 in the morning on October 19th, and it has been a very long while since I have seen you for an update. I'm still working on the Serial Killers Anonymous rewrite edit. I'm not nearly as far into it as I would like to be, which, you know, is a hit or miss sort of thing, because I'm 29,000 words into it, but that's still not anywhere near where I should be. I don't have my notebook in here with my sticky note on it, but out of however many chapters there are in the original, which I think I should have that Google Docs open so I can check. Out of the original 28 chapters, I'm currently on chapter 11 in the rewrites. So I'm on the original chapter 11 out of the original 28 right now. But obviously not done like I wanted to be at the end of last month. I'm currently 19 days behind. But before we get into progress and what I've accomplished so far, I'm going to give you a quick run through on what has happened since the last time I've seen you. I think the last time I talked to you was 4 days into the process, give or take, which based on what I'm looking at here would have been September 4th, I think. And when I filmed that video, based on what the background of the video looks like, it looks like my sleep schedule was still on track at that time. It looks like it was in the living room in the dark, which is my normal bedtime, awake time, whatever. But recently, my sleep schedule is all over the place. I'm currently going to bed at about 10 p.m. and waking up at anywhere between 6 and 8 a.m. Which is backwards of how I normally work. So currently, I'm all over the place. Daytime brain isn't my creative brain. Daytime brain is the one that I used when I was in school. It's very research focused, very note focused, very oriented on making sure that everything is 100% factual, and if there's no proof that you can... If there's nothing you can find to prove that something can indeed happen, you can't use it. Time to stop, derail, and research for 3 hours to make sure that that's correct. And that's mostly how daytime brain focuses. Daytime brain is also an outliner, plotter, because when I was in high school, which is the last time that I used daytime brain for consistent writing, I was outlining my books. I was a plotter when I was in high school, and all of those books are terrible. I'll be honest with you. They're filled with plot holes, ironically, and the characters are all flat, they're all one-dimensional, they're all terrible. So, trying to switch to either fix my sleep schedule, and there's a problem with that too, and I'll get into that. Trying to either fix my sleep schedule or work on forcing daytime brain to somehow switch into my nighttime creative brain is difficult. When I graduated high school, I let my body do whatever it wanted with my sleep schedule, because when I was in school, I was exhausted all the time, no matter what I did, no matter how long I slept, no matter what time I went to bed, what time I woke up, no matter what. So when I graduated high school, I let it do whatever, and within a week, I was completely nocturnal, and I've been that way for 4 years. And it worked very well for me. I function better when I sleep during the day for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if that's a genetic thing, something in my DNA. I know that DNA can have a, like, nocturnal something for some people, just like sometimes something in your DNA can make it so you need less sleep or more sleep, same way that DNA and genetics can be used to figure out a diet, so on and so forth. But I don't know why mine is that way. But I do function better in most aspects if I sleep during the daytime and I'm awake at night. I tend to be more concentrated at night. I tend to derail less at night. My pain is normally greater during the daytime. Generally, not always. And just in a general sense of things, I focus better, I do better creatively, and I do better at night. So adjusting to that has been difficult. So I haven't been making a ton of progress in Serial Killers Anonymous because of that, and the other things that are going on in my life right now, which I'll get into as briefly as I can. So at the end of last month, September, I think it was at the end. It was middle to end. It was on a Friday, I think. I was out in the living room and with Willie, little dog, and he got out of his bed to walk towards me and just went stiff and fell over on his side. And I caught him, I righted him, I put him back in his bed, and after a moment he seemed okay, but it was very anxiety inducing. It was like 1 in the morning. I was the only one awake. There was nothing I could do. I just had to sit there with him and watch him. And then later on in the morning, when I took him into the laundry room so he could get a drink, he went stiff again and fell forward, and I caught him before he hit the floor with his face. So then that morning after 8, I called the vet and scheduled an appointment with him, or for him, and he was diagnosed with heart failure and put on 2 medications, an ACE inhibitor and a diuretic, which helps him basically pee out the fluid that is gathering in his lungs. And the ACE inhibitor lowers your blood pressure, so that way the blood pumps easier, your heart doesn't work as hard, and it gets more blood through the veins, like it's supposed to do, and get more oxygen to his brain. The vet believes that the 2 things that I witnessed were fainting spells from a lack of oxygen to his brain. So that was thing 1. And dealing with that was very hard and stress-inducing. He developed basically spontaneous separation anxiety after we returned home, because the vet was very traumatic for him. He's a very good boy, he's very well behaved, but they had to take him away from me to give him an x-ray and to draw his blood, and he was very stressed out, and when he's stressed out he can't breathe because there's fluid in his lungs. So it was very, very hard for him. So we're still sort of dealing with that separation anxiety a little bit. He's sleeping down here at the moment. But that was one thing. I spent the first 2-ish weeks just sort of constantly watching him to keep an eye out for fainting spells and to monitor his coughing and to listen to his breathing and to see how often he's drinking and how often he's going outside and how often he's eating, how often he's not eating, so on and so forth. And it's been difficult. It's easier now. It's been almost a month, I think, since he's been on the meds. But there are still definitely days that he has that are better than others, and he has days that are worse than others. And the worst days suck for both of us, but for him more, obviously. But it's a very constant effect on him, on me, on what I'm able to accomplish throughout the day, and especially on what I'm able to accomplish on a book that I'm attempting to polish for publishing instead of just a book that I'm writing the first draft of. Like I said, he's much better now, which is good, although I kind of want to take him into the vet again for a blood test, to see if we need to add more medications, because I don't want to play it by ear like the vet wants me to, because everything that I've found involves more blood tests. So there's also that stress. I lost a ton of sleep after his first vet visit, and now that's the reason my sleep schedule is backwards, because I was barely sleeping at all. I was taking naps only while he was sleeping, basically, because I didn't want to risk missing anything. I didn't want to risk him having an allergic reaction to the meds, or for it to cause a seizure or fainting or any of the things that it can cause as symptoms. And I needed to know that he was okay. If you don't have animals, they're like your family. They're your kids, basically. And I would do anything to make sure that he's okay, to make sure that Roxy's okay, to make sure that the cats are okay. So when the fainting spells happened, and when I took him in and got him his meds and the blood tests and the x-rays and all of that, I'd do it again in a heartbeat if I had to, even though it was very, very hard and stressful, and I'd do it again. as long as it made sure that he got to breathe a little easier, as long as it made sure that he was okay. I'd do it again. But past that, on the 8th of this month, my mom left for work, and then she texted me to say that, you know, just a heads up, I didn't see Bean on the porch this morning, and when I meowed at her, she didn't respond to me. And I was like, okay, after I eat, I'll go see what's up. Bean is the calico cat that I've talked about on my channel a couple times. Not in this series. That would have been right before we found her, I think, or right after when I filmed the first video for this series. For the rewrite edit part of this series anyway. But she was pregnant. And on the 8th, when she didn't respond, that was worrying. So I went out and called for her, meowed for her, whatever, and normally she responds to that and she jumps down and comes out for pets because she really likes being pet and she likes being cuddled a lot. But I couldn't get a response out of her. But I did hear a kitten meow, which meant that she had had her kitten sometime in the early morning of the 8th. So I dismantled the whole entire porch, basically. Climbed up so I could see in the rafters to see if she was up there, moved boxes around, carried, I don't know, 10, 12 totes out of the back of the porch, moved heavy Christmas tree boxes, moved heavy gazelle, which I don't know if you've ever seen one of those, but it's an exercise thing, and it's heavy as shit. But that day I had 2 anxiety attacks because I was home alone. My grandpa was out in the field, my grandma was in town, my mom was at work, so it was just me. And one of the last years that we had cats, like out on the farm, one of them was pregnant. And when she got closer to giving birth, something went wrong and presumably one of the kittens died and got stuck and we had to put her down. So the whole time that Bean wasn't responding to me, that was all I could think of, was losing her. Just because I hadn't brought her into the house a couple hours earlier or a day earlier, or because I had ordered the pen for my room for her to stay in just a little too late. And it was all I could think about. But then I found her dumbass down on the ground, sandwiched in between the wall and one of the totes. She had like this much room. I don't know how she got back there. I don't know if she fell back there. I don't know. But she was okay. All 4 kittens were okay. You know, she hadn't broken anything if she did fall back there, which was good. So I spent most of that day getting her out of there, putting her in a box, moving everything on the porch back into place, moving her litter box, her food, her water, everything back into my room with the kittens, and they've been there since. They're 11 days old today, and for the last 11 days, I have been babysitting Mama Bean and her kittens and making sure that Celine doesn't feel abandoned because she's in the room right next to my room, so she can hear the kittens, but making sure that they all feel loved, and then consistently documenting their process or their progress to share it on Discord with my fellow cat lovers. And that's not stressful anymore. The day that I was searching for her was stressful, and the few days that followed, because I was emotionally and mentally exhausted from the anxiety attacks on the 8th. So I wasn't really accomplishing much then. And now I'm still barely accomplishing anything. There are days where I write like 24 words in whatever book I'm working on. It's very slow going. It's slow progress. And that's just how it is sometimes, because life gets in the way and life throws a whole bunch of shit at you at once. But now I'm stuck in a loop of if I can't fix my sleep schedule, then I never get to write during my most creative, productive hours. But if I do fix my sleep schedule, then I'm screwed because I currently can't sleep in my room. I was in the middle of cleaning when Bean had her kittens. So there are a ton of clothes on my bed. Roxy normally sleeps in my room when I'm sleeping in there, and she sure as hell can't sleep in there right now, so she would whine at my door the whole time. I can't sleep in the living room like I'm doing right now, because during the day, the birds are super loud. And it's a constant loop of, which do I do? Do I fix my sleep schedule so that way I can finally accomplish something in my writing, my career? Or do I not fix my sleep schedule so that way I can still sleep in the living room? So that way I don't have to somehow figure out how to clean out the rest of my room while half of my room is taken up by a cat and kittens, and while the dog can't be in there because I don't trust her. I love her, but I do not trust her. So, with that being said, I'll give you a quick update, I suppose, on where I am in Serial Killers Anonymous, and then that will be the last part of this specific video, and then I'll upload another video where I go into more detail of what I've accomplished so far, and then hopefully I'll get back to updates every time that I work on it as planned. But right now, yesterday was day 22 of working on the book, and that's not 22 consecutive days, that is 22 days in between whatever else I'm working on. So yesterday, for instance, I wrote 268 words in it, and that brought my total to 29,728 words, and that's where I am right now. And again, I'm on chapter 11 of the original. Currently, that is listed as chapter 9 here in this document, but I'm not certain that in the new version I'll be doing chapters. I think they'll just be pages or scene breaks labeled with the name of who the next scene is from, whose point of view it's from. But we will see how things go there when it comes to formatting on all of that. But right now, things are slow. Progress is slow. I think I'm about 10,000 words away from the end of the original, as in, like, I'm at 29,000 words. I think the original is 39,000 words, give or take. And and I don't know how long it's going to take to get there. I was supposed to finish the second edit yesterday, so I'm behind. Again, 19 days behind, which, again, I'm doing my best to be accepting of, because I've had a lot of stuff going on. I mean, even what I've talked about so far is still just like the top 1/3 of the iceberg. So it's there. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best to push through. I'm doing my best to work on it. I'm doing my best to make a ton of progress whenever I can. But unfortunately, my best is not the greatest right now. And that's okay. I can't force my best to be better than it is at this very moment. So I'm doing my best to accept that. I'm doing my best to make progress without consistently telling myself that it's not enough, without consistently telling myself that I should have been able to do more. And hopefully progress will eventually be made. But we'll see. But that's all that I'm going to do for this particular video. Like I've said before, I think, again, it's been a while since I filmed the first part of this video. This rewrite section of the beginning to end series is going to be one whole playlist, so that way I can film relatively daily, hopefully, and fill out as many videos as I need to without having to condense it into only telling you what a rewrite is, telling you the statistics of it, and then going from there. I would like to document the process when I can, and this has been a documentation summary of everything that you missed since the last time I updated you. But I'm hoping that things go okay, even if they are slower than initially expected, than initially planned, even if this pushes the book back a month or two. I'm hoping that things go okay. But that's all that I'm going to do for this one. Hopefully the next one I'll start going through and see how many new scenes I've added and stuff like that, but that's not something that I've like actively looked at so far, so we'll see. But that's all that I have for this one. If you enjoyed this video and this very long summary, like is always appreciated. And if you'd like to stay updated on my writing, my editing, the gaming videos I upload roughly every Friday, the animal stuff that I'm going to be uploading some Wednesdays, or anything that I do on the channel in between, feel free to subscribe. All the links to my authors pages, as well as links to my social media, are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.